Empathy, the capacity to understand and share the feelings of another, is a cornerstone of human connection and social cohesion. However, this seemingly simple concept unravels into a complex tapestry of cognitive and affective processes when examined closely. Understanding empathy requires delving into both the mental mechanisms that allow us to grasp another's emotional state and the emotional response we experience in turn. These two perspectives, the cognitive and the affective, are intertwined yet distinct, contributing to a nuanced understanding of this fundamental human capacity. The cognitive aspect of empathy, often referred to as cognitive empathy or perspective taking, involves the ability to understand another person's mental state, their thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and intentions. This is not merely intellectual understanding. It requires actively attempting to see the world from another's point of view, considering their unique experiences, knowledge, and perspectives. It involves mentally simulating their situation, imagining how they might feel in response to certain events or circumstances. This cognitive process is heavily reliant on our theory of mind, the ability to attribute mental states to ourselves and others, understanding that others have different beliefs, desires, and intentions than our own. This capacity develops gradually throughout childhood, with significant advancements observed during the preschool years. Studies using neuroimaging techniques have begun to shed light on the neural substrates underpinning cognitive empathy. The medial prefrontal cortex, the temporoparietal junction, and the superior temporal sulcus are consistently implicated in tasks requiring perspective taking. These brain regions are involved in various cognitive processes, including mentalizing, social cognition, and the processing of social cues. Damage to these areas, for instance, through stroke or injury, can lead to impairments in social cognition and the ability to understand others' mental states. This demonstrates the biological basis of cognitive empathy, highlighting its fundamental role in our social interactions. However, cognitive empathy alone does not fully capture the richness of human empathy. The affective aspect, often termed emotional empathy or affective resonance, refers to the emotional response we experience when witnessing or imagining the suffering or joy of another person. This involves feeling a shared emotional experience, mirroring the other's emotions to some extent. It's not simply understanding intellectually what the other person is feeling. It's feeling it alongside them, experiencing a vicarious emotional response. This affective component is often considered a more fundamental aspect of empathy, as it directly involves sharing the emotional experience, rather than just understanding it intellectually. Research in affective neuroscience points to the role of mirror neurons in emotional empathy. These specialized neurons fire both when an individual performs an action and when they observe another performing the same action. This neural mechanism is believed to play a crucial role in our ability to understand and share the emotions of others, allowing us to resonate with their experiences on an emotional level. Furthermore, studies have shown that the insula, an area of the brain associated with bodily sensations and emotions, is also highly active during empathetic responses. This highlights the bodily component of empathy, suggesting that our physical sensations are inextricably linked to our emotional responses towards others. The interplay between cognitive and affective empathy is crucial. While cognitive empathy allows us to understand the situation and the other person's perspective, affective empathy adds a layer of emotional engagement, deepening our understanding and fostering stronger connections. For example, we might cognitively understand that a friend has lost their job and is feeling anxious and stressed. However, the affective component of empathy allows us to feel some of that anxiety and stress ourselves, fostering a deeper sense of connection and compassion. Individuals with high levels of both cognitive and affective empathy are generally better at navigating social interactions, building strong relationships, and providing support to those in need. However, it's important to acknowledge that empathy is not a monolithic entity. Our capacity for empathy is influenced by various factors, including individual differences in personality, temperament, and life experiences. Some individuals naturally possess a higher capacity for empathy than others, while others may struggle to connect emotionally with the experiences of others. Furthermore, social and cultural contexts can also shape our empathetic responses. Cultural norms and values can influence how we perceive and respond to the emotions of others, shaping our expressions of empathy. Understanding these variations in empathy is crucial for fostering effective communication and building stronger social bonds. The limitations of empathy are also worth considering. Empathy can be selective, biased, and even potentially harmful in certain situations. We often exhibit more empathy towards those we perceive as similar to ourselves, while individuals from different cultural backgrounds or social groups may receive less empathetic consideration. This bias can reinforce existing social inequalities and prejudice. Furthermore, experiencing intense emotional empathy can lead to emotional exhaustion and burnout, especially for those working in helping professions or caring for individuals experiencing significant distress. Therefore, while empathy is a valuable human capacity, it's crucial to understand its limitations and to develop strategies for managing its potential downsides. Empathy is not a passive process. It requires active engagement and effort. Cultivating empathy involves fostering self-awareness, learning to recognize and understand our own emotions, and developing our ability to understand and appreciate the perspectives of others. This requires actively listening to others, seeking to understand their experiences, and practicing compassion. Techniques like mindfulness meditation can enhance our capacity for empathy by fostering self-awareness and emotional regulation. Engaging in perspective-taking exercises, where we consciously try to see the world from another person's point of view, can also strengthen our cognitive empathy. By actively cultivating empathy, we can build stronger relationships, foster greater social cohesion, and contribute to a more compassionate and understanding world. The development of empathy begins in early childhood, profoundly shaped by early social interactions and attachment relationships. Secure attachment to caregivers provides a foundation for developing a secure sense of self and the ability to connect emotionally with others. Children who experience secure attachment are generally more attuned to the emotions of others and exhibit greater levels of empathy. In contrast, children who experience insecure or neglectful attachments may struggle with emotional regulation and may have difficulty empathizing with others. This underscores the importance of providing a nurturing and supportive environment for children, fostering their emotional development and capacity for empathy. Furthermore, education plays a vital role in shaping our capacity for empathy. Learning about diverse cultures and perspectives can broaden our understanding and appreciation of others. Exposure to literature, art, and film that portray diverse human experiences can enhance our capacity for perspective-taking and emotional resonance. Schools and educational institutions can play a significant role in fostering empathy by providing opportunities for students to interact with individuals from diverse backgrounds and by promoting inclusive and respectful classroom environments. The role of social media and technology in shaping empathy is a topic of ongoing debate. While some argue that social media can foster empathy by connecting people across geographical boundaries and allowing them to learn about diverse experiences, others express concerns that it may contribute to emotional detachment and a lack of genuine connection. The curated nature of online interactions, where individuals often present idealized versions of themselves, may hinder the development of deeper empathetic understanding. Moreover, the prevalence of online negativity and hate speech can have a detrimental effect on empathy, contributing to a more polarized and divided society. Therefore, a critical understanding of how technology affects our empathetic capacity is essential. In conclusion, understanding empathy requires recognizing its cognitive and affective dimensions. Cognitive empathy allows us to understand others' mental states, while affective empathy involves sharing their emotions. While a fundamental human capacity, empathy is complex, influenced by individual differences, social context, and potentially limited by biases. However, through self-awareness, education, and mindful practice, we can cultivate our capacity for empathy and contribute to a more just and compassionate world. The pursuit of understanding empathy is therefore not merely an academic exercise, but a crucial aspect of navigating the complexities of human interaction and fostering positive social change. Our ability to connect with others emotionally, to see the world from their perspective, and to respond with compassion is fundamental to our well-being, both individually and collectively. The cultivation of empathy, therefore, is not simply an admirable goal, but a necessary element for building a more humane and flourishing society. The capacity for empathy as explored in the preceding sections, is not merely a psychological phenomenon. It has deep roots in our biology and has played a crucial role in our evolutionary trajectory. Understanding the biological basis of empathy provides a compelling framework for appreciating its significance in shaping human societies and individual well-being. The neural mechanisms underlying empathy are complex and multifaceted, involving a network of brain regions working in concert to process and respond to the emotional states of others. One key area is the mirror neuron system. These specialized neurons, first discovered in macaque monkeys, fire both when an individual performs an action and when they observe another individual performing the same action. This mirroring activity suggests a neural mechanism for understanding the actions and intentions of others. While the precise role of mirror neurons in human empathy is still under investigation, their activity correlates strongly with our ability to understand and share the emotional experiences of others. Observing someone expressing sadness, for instance, might activate mirror neurons that simulate the experience of sadness in our own brain, leading to an effective response of empathy. This neural mirroring is not limited to simple actions. It extends to emotional expressions, allowing us to feel what others are feeling on a visceral level. The extent to which this mirroring contributes to the affective component of empathy versus simply enabling action understanding continues to be a focus of neuroscience research. The ongoing development of neuroimaging techniques, such as fMRI and EEG, holds great promise in revealing more nuanced aspects of mirror neuron activity and its Beyond the mirror neuron system, numerous other brain regions contribute to the complex neural circuitry of empathy. The insula, a brain region involved in processing bodily sensations and interoception, awareness of internal bodily states, plays a crucial role in emotional empathy. When we witness another person experiencing pain or distress, the insula becomes activated, allowing us to vicariously experience some aspects of their physical and emotional suffering. This activation is not merely a passive observation. It reflects an active engagement with the other person's emotional state, fostering a sense of shared experience. The anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, implicated in emotional regulation and error detection, is also involved in empathy, particularly in situations where we witness another person's suffering or need for assistance. The ACC's activity may reflect our internal conflict between our own self-interest and the desire to alleviate the suffering of others. This internal struggle underlines the potential for altruistic behavior driven by empathy. The prefrontal cortex, particularly the medial prefrontal cortex, MPFC, is central to cognitive empathy, enabling us to understand and appreciate the perspectives of others. The MPFC is involved in mentalizing the ability to attribute mental states, beliefs, intentions, desires, to ourselves and others. This capacity is crucial for perspective taking, allowing us to imagine how another person might feel in a given situation, considering their unique experiences and circumstances. Damage to the MPFC can severely impair social cognition and the ability to understand others' mental states, highlighting its crucial role in empathy. Furthermore, research suggests a significant interaction between the MPFC and the amygdala, a brain region associated with processing fear and other emotions. This interaction points to the interplay between cognitive understanding and emotional responses in empathy. A robust understanding of the emotional context of a situation, mediated by the amygdala, influences our cognitive interpretation, guided by the MPFC, leading to a more nuanced and accurate empathetic response. The evolutionary significance of empathy is profound. From an evolutionary perspective, empathy is not a mere byproduct of brain development. It represents a powerful adaptive mechanism that has enhanced human survival and social cohesion. Empathy likely evolved through kin selection and reciprocal altruism. Kin selection explains our predisposition to show greater empathy toward our relatives, enhancing the survival chances of our genetic kin. Reciprocal altruism explains our tendency to help others, even non-relatives, with the expectation that this kindness might be reciprocated in the future. In cooperative societies, individuals who demonstrate empathy are more likely to build strong social bonds, receive support during times of need, and ultimately increase their chances of survival and reproductive success. These behaviors are not necessarily conscious calculations. They are often spontaneous and emotionally driven responses that evolved over millennia to foster cooperation and survival. The development of complex social structures and cooperation within early human societies were likely heavily influenced by the presence of empathy. Hunting and gathering, for example, required extensive cooperation and coordination. Successful hunting parties relied on individuals understanding the needs and intentions of their fellow hunters, sharing resources equitably, and offering support to those in need. Empathy facilitated these essential cooperative behaviors, leading to increased hunting success and enhanced survival rates. The evolution of language, with its capacity to convey complex emotions and perspectives, likely further amplified the impact of empathy in human social evolution. Language allowed individuals to articulate their needs, share their experiences, and foster a deeper understanding of each other's emotions, leading to stronger social bonds and more effective cooperation. Moreover, empathy plays a pivotal role in the formation and maintenance of social hierarchies. Individuals with high levels of empathy are often better at navigating social dynamics, building alliances, and negotiating conflicts. The ability to understand and respond to the emotions of others allows individuals to anticipate the reactions of others, avoid potential conflict, and cultivate more positive relationships. This social intelligence, fueled by empathy, enhances social status and increases reproductive success. In societies with complex social structures, individuals who can effectively manage social relationships and alliances have a distinct advantage, leading to increased influence and greater opportunities for survival and procreation. Therefore, the capacity for empathy represents a potent force in shaping not only human behavior but also the evolutionary trajectory of our species. The intricate interplay between our biological makeup, our social environment, and our evolving capacity for empathy creates a rich tapestry of human experience. The study of empathy extends beyond the purely biological and evolutionary, encompassing the psychological and sociological dimensions. The variations in empathic abilities across individuals highlight the intricate interplay between nature and nurture. While genetic predispositions may contribute to differences in empathy levels, environmental factors such as childhood experiences, cultural norms, and social interactions play a crucial role in shaping our capacity for empathy. For instance, children raised in supportive and nurturing environments, where their emotional needs are consistently met, often exhibit higher levels of empathy compared to those raised in emotionally neglectful or abusive environments. Similarly, cultural norms and values influence how empathy is expressed and valued within different societies. Some cultures emphasize collectivism and interdependence, fostering a greater sense of shared responsibility and empathy towards others, while other cultures prioritize individualism, potentially leading to a less pronounced focus on the emotional needs of others. The implications of our understanding of empathy's biological and evolutionary basis are far-reaching. This knowledge can inform interventions aimed at promoting pro-social behavior and reducing conflict. By understanding the neural mechanisms underlying empathy, we can develop techniques to enhance our empathetic capacity, such as mindfulness practices or empathy training. This can have a transformative effect on individuals and society. By fostering empathy, we can improve relationships, reduce prejudice and discrimination, and contribute to a more just and compassionate world. The ability to connect emotionally with others, to understand their perspectives, and to respond with compassion is a fundamental aspect of the human condition. Nurturing our capacity for empathy is therefore not simply an admirable goal. It is a crucial step in creating a more humane and flourishing future. The continued exploration of empathy's multifaceted nature, encompassing its biological, psychological, sociological, and evolutionary aspects, promises to provide valuable insights into the human condition and pave the way for a more compassionate and interconnected world. The exploration of empathy's biological and evolutionary underpinnings naturally leads us to consider its ethical implications. While empathy, as a neurobiological phenomenon, doesn't inherently dictate moral behavior, it undeniably plays a profound role in shaping our moral compass and motivating actions that benefit others. The capacity to understand and share the feelings of others forms a crucial foundation for ethical decision-making, prompting us to consider the consequences of our actions on those around us. This section delves into the compelling argument that compassion, driven by empathy, acts as a moral imperative, fundamentally shaping our responsibilities towards one another and fostering a more just and equitable society. One crucial aspect of this ethical dimension is the connection between empathy and moral judgment. Studies consistently demonstrate a correlation between higher levels of empathy and greater moral sensitivity. Individuals with a strong capacity for empathy tend to be more attuned to the suffering of others, experiencing a stronger sense of moral obligation to alleviate that suffering. They are more likely to condemn acts of cruelty and injustice, recognizing the emotional pain inflicted upon victims. Conversely, deficits in empathy have been linked to antisocial behaviors and a diminished sense of moral responsibility. Individuals with impaired empathy may struggle to comprehend the emotional distress caused by their actions, leading to a reduced capacity for remorse or a diminished sense of accountability. This connection between empathy and morality isn't simply a passive correlation. It reflects an active process of moral reasoning and decision-making. When we encounter situations involving moral dilemmas, our capacity for empathy significantly influences our judgment. Consider the classic trolley problem, a thought experiment that illustrates the complexities of moral decision-making. In this scenario, a runaway trolley is about to kill 5 people unless you pull a lever to divert it onto a sidetrack, killing 1 person instead. While purely utilitarian calculations might favor diverting the trolley, the emotional impact of choosing to sacrifice 1 life for the sake of 5 significantly influences our response. Individuals with high levels of empathy often grapple with the moral weight of such a decision, experiencing intense emotional distress at the prospect of causing harm, even if it leads to saving more lives. This highlights the role of emotional responses, deeply intertwined with empathy, in influencing moral choices. This emphasizes that morality isn't solely a matter of rational calculation, but also profoundly emotional. Our capacity for empathy provides a vital source of moral motivation, prompting us to act in ways that alleviate suffering and promote the well-being of others. It isn't simply about avoiding harm. It's about actively striving to do good, driven by the shared experience of suffering and a desire to lessen it. This empathetic response extends beyond our immediate circle to encompass broader concerns about social justice. The concept of compassion, closely intertwined with empathy, further strengthens the argument for empathy as a moral imperative. Compassion goes beyond simply understanding the suffering of others. It involves a feeling of concern and a desire to alleviate that suffering. It motivates us to engage in acts of kindness, altruism, and social action. Compassion can be seen as the active manifestation of empathy's moral power. It transforms understanding into action, translating the vicarious experience of another's pain into a commitment to help alleviate it. This commitment isn't always easy, requiring us to overcome self-interest and prioritize the well-being. The ethical implications of empathy extend into various spheres of human life. In personal relationships, empathy fosters understanding, compassion, and forgiveness, strengthening the bonds between individuals. In the realm of professional ethics, particularly in fields such as healthcare, social work, and law enforcement, empathy is crucial for providing effective and compassionate care. Professionals in these fields need to develop strong empathetic capacities to understand the emotional needs of their clients and to respond in a way that is both helpful, respectful. In legal and political contexts, empathy can help mitigate bias, promoting fairer and more equitable legal systems and public policy. Judges, lawyers, and policymakers can make more informed and compassionate decisions by considering the perspectives and emotional experiences of all parties involved. The promotion of social justice and the alleviation of suffering worldwide also depend crucially on fostering a collective capacity for empathy. Understanding the plight of marginalized and vulnerable populations requires a willingness to step outside our own perspectives and engage with the experiences of others. Empathy allows us to recognize the systemic inequalities and injustices that contribute to suffering and to work towards creating a more just and equitable world. This includes confronting issues such as poverty, discrimination, and violence by understanding the perspectives of those affected. Advocates for social justice often rely on their empathetic capacity to connect with the experiences of marginalized groups and to inspire others to work for change. Moreover, empathy's role in mitigating conflict and fostering cooperation cannot be overstated. In interpersonal conflicts, empathy helps individuals understand the perspectives and motivations of their adversaries, opening paths toward reconciliation and mutually beneficial solutions. In international relations, a shared capacity for empathy is essential for avoiding conflicts and fostering cooperation. Understanding the cultural, historical, and emotional backgrounds of other nations is crucial to building trust and establishing peaceful relations. However, it's important to acknowledge the limitations and potential challenges associated with empathy. Empathy is not always straightforward. It can be influenced by factors such as bias, personal experience, and emotional distance. Over-reliance on empathy can sometimes lead to emotional exhaustion or burnout, especially for individuals working in helping professions. Furthermore, empathy can be manipulated, leading to sympathy for perpetrators rather than victims. For instance, highly publicized cases of criminal offenders can generate significant public empathy, overshadowing the suffering of victims. Therefore, while empathy is a powerful moral force, its ethical implications require careful consideration and a nuanced understanding of its strengths and limitations. Despite these potential challenges, the cultivation of empathy remains a crucial ethical imperative. By actively engaging in practices that foster emotional awareness, perspective taking, and compassion, we can strengthen our capacity for empathy and enhance our moral responsiveness. This can involve activities such as mindfulness exercises, engaging with diverse perspectives, and engaging in acts of service. Promoting empathy in education and social institutions is also essential for nurturing a more compassionate and just society. By teaching individuals to recognize, understand, and respond to the emotional needs of others, we lay the foundation for a more ethical and humane world. This isn't simply an idealistic goal. It's a practical necessity for building thriving communities and resolving the many challenges facing humanity. In conclusion, the ethical implications of empathy are far-reaching and profound. Empathy serves as a critical foundation for moral decision-making, motivating compassionate actions and promoting social justice. While acknowledging its limitations and potential pitfalls, the cultivation of empathy remains an imperative for creating a more ethical and humane world. By embracing our capacity for compassion and striving to understand the experiences of others, we can work towards a future defined by greater justice, cooperation, and mutual understanding. The journey towards a more empathetic society is a continuous process, requiring ongoing reflection, self-awareness, and a commitment to fostering compassion in all aspects of human interaction. The ongoing research into the complexities of empathy, its neurobiological underpinnings, and its social and ethical dimensions will continue to enrich our understanding of the human condition and guide us in our collective pursuit of a more compassionate and just world. Cultivating empathy and compassion requires a conscious effort to develop emotional intelligence, a multifaceted skill encompassing self-awareness, self-regulation, social awareness, and relationship management. Improving emotional regulation is paramount. Uncontrolled emotions can cloud judgment and hinder our ability to connect with others' feelings. Techniques like mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing exercises, and progressive muscle relaxation can significantly enhance emotional regulation. Mindfulness, in particular, allows us to observe our emotions without judgment, creating a space between the feeling and the reaction, enabling more thoughtful responses. Deep breathing techniques, practiced regularly, can calm the nervous system, reducing the intensity of emotional responses and fostering a sense of inner peace, making us more receptive to the emotional states of others. Progressive muscle relaxation, by systematically tensing and releasing muscle groups, helps relieve physical tension often associated with emotional stress, further contributing to emotional equilibrium. Perspective taking is another crucial component of cultivating empathy. This involves actively trying to understand the world from another person's point of view, considering their background, experiences, and beliefs. This isn't about agreeing with their perspective, but about genuinely trying to understand it. Effective perspective taking requires active listening, truly hearing what someone is saying, both verbally and non-verbally, and asking clarifying questions to ensure complete understanding. It involves suspending our own judgments and biases, stepping outside our egocentric viewpoint, and trying to see the situation through their eyes. This necessitates cultivating a mindset of curiosity and openness, a willingness to consider viewpoints different from our own. Role-playing exercises can significantly enhance perspective-taking skills. By actively imagining ourselves in another person's shoes, we can experience their emotions and understand their motivations more deeply. This could involve exploring hypothetical scenarios or reflecting on real-life situations from multiple perspectives. For example, imagining the emotional toll on a healthcare worker during a pandemic or the challenges faced by a refugee fleeing conflict can foster greater understanding and compassion. Such exercises help us develop mental flexibility, the capacity to shift perspectives and see the world from a variety of viewpoints, significantly expanding our empathetic capacity. Engaging with diverse perspectives is equally crucial. Seeking out opportunities to interact with people from different backgrounds, cultures, and socioeconomic statuses expands our understanding of human experience and reduces the likelihood of relying solely on our limited perspectives. This could involve joining diverse social groups, engaging in intercultural dialogues, volunteering in communities different from our own, or simply initiating conversations with people whose backgrounds differ significantly from ours. The experience of hearing different stories, perspectives, and beliefs broadens our understanding of the complexity of human experience, nurturing a more nuanced and empathetic outlook. Reading literature and watching films that explore diverse experiences can further enhance this process, stimulating our emotional understanding and fostering greater empathy. Active listening and nonverbal communication are key elements of effective interaction. Active listening isn't just about hearing words, but also observing body language, tone of voice, and other nonverbal cues that convey unspoken emotions and sentiments. Paying attention to these nonverbal cues provides additional information for understanding a person's emotional state, deepening our empathetic understanding. Nonverbal communication, in turn, plays a significant role in conveying empathy. Simple acts like maintaining eye contact, nodding attentively, and offering a comforting touch can communicate understanding and support, fostering a stronger connection with the other person. Furthermore, cultivating compassion involves not just understanding suffering, but also feeling a sense of concern and a desire to alleviate it. This often requires overcoming personal biases and challenging our own preconceived notions. Acts of service, volunteering in a community, or simply offering assistance to someone in need are concrete ways to express compassion and enhance our empathetic skills. These acts not only benefit the recipient, but also foster a deeper understanding of the experiences of others, strengthening our empathetic capabilities and cultivating a sense of shared humanity. Even small gestures of kindness, like offering a helping hand or a listening ear, can significantly enhance our capacity for compassion. Developing empathy and compassion is a lifelong journey, not a destination. It's a continuous process of self-reflection, learning, and practice. Regularly reflecting on our emotional responses, analyzing our biases, and consciously practicing perspective-taking can significantly improve our empathetic abilities. Journaling can be a helpful tool for this reflection, providing space to explore our feelings and analyze our interactions with others. Regularly journaling about encounters that elicit strong emotional responses allows for deeper understanding of our own emotional patterns and how they influence our interactions with others, enhancing self-awareness, a crucial component of emotional intelligence. Moreover, engaging in creative expression, like writing, painting, or music, can facilitate emotional processing and deeper self-understanding. These creative outlets can help us explore and express emotions that might otherwise remain unexamined, fostering self-awareness and providing a pathway for connecting with the emotional experiences of others more deeply. The act of creating art often involves introspection and empathy, as we strive to communicate emotions and ideas to others, fostering a deeper understanding of the human condition and nurturing our empathetic capabilities. Beyond individual practices, fostering empathy and compassion within societal structures is crucial. Educational institutions, workplaces, and communities can play a vital role in cultivating empathy through curricula that emphasize emotional literacy, perspective-taking, and intercultural understanding. Promoting inclusive environments that celebrate diversity and provide opportunities for intergroup interaction is crucial in building a more compassionate and empathetic society. This includes creating spaces where individuals feel safe to express their emotions and where differences are respected. In conclusion, cultivating empathy and compassion involves a multifaceted approach that integrates emotional regulation, perspective-taking, active listening, acts of service, self-reflection, and engagement with diverse perspectives. It's a process that demands consistent effort, self-awareness, and a commitment to continuous growth. The rewards, however, are immense. A deeper understanding of ourselves and others, stronger relationships, and a more compassionate and just society. The journey towards developing a higher degree of emotional intelligence is not merely a personal endeavor, it is a collective responsibility, impacting the quality of our interactions and the overall well-being of humanity. The more we understand and practice empathy, the more we build a world where compassion is not just an ideal, but a lived reality. Empathy, the capacity to understand and share the feelings of another, transcends mere intellectual comprehension. It's a visceral experience, a deep emotional resonance that allows us to connect with others on a fundamental level. This emotional bridge building is particularly crucial in conflict resolution, where entrenched positions and hurt feelings often create seemingly insurmountable barriers. When individuals engage in conflict, they often operate from a place of self-preservation and perceived threat. Their primary focus becomes protecting their own interests, leading to defensive posturing, accusations, and a breakdown in communication. Empathy, however, offers a powerful antidote to this cycle of negativity. By stepping into another person's shoes, even momentarily, we can begin to understand their perspective, their motivations, and the underlying fears and anxieties driving their actions. This understanding doesn't necessitate agreement. It simply provides a foundation for more constructive dialogue. Consider, for instance, the seemingly intractable conflict between opposing political factions. Each side often views the other as fundamentally wrong, even malevolent. Empathy can help to de-escalate such conflicts by prompting individuals to recognize the shared humanity beneath the surface of ideological differences. Understanding that the opposing side holds their beliefs sincerely, often rooted in their personal experiences and values, can foster a sense of common ground. This doesn't mean abandoning one's own beliefs, but rather recognizing the legitimacy of others' perspectives, even while disagreeing with them. This approach allows for a shift from adversarial positions to a more collaborative search for solutions that address the underlying concerns of all parties involved. In international relations, empathy plays an equally vital role in conflict prevention and resolution. Understanding the historical grievances, cultural nuances, and socioeconomic factors that shape the behavior of nations can illuminate the roots of conflict. Instead of focusing solely on immediate political objectives, empathetic engagement allows for a more nuanced understanding of the complex web of factors driving the conflict. This approach fosters diplomacy and encourages the development of mutually beneficial solutions that take into account the interests and concerns of all stakeholders. For example, successful peace negotiations often rely on negotiators' ability to empathize with the opposing side, understanding their needs and fears, paving the way for compromises that wouldn't have been possible without this empathetic approach. The application of empathy extends beyond large-scale conflicts to the everyday interactions that shape our social lives. Disagreements within families, workplace conflicts, and disputes among neighbors are often exacerbated by a lack of empathy. When individuals fail to understand and acknowledge the feelings of others, even minor disagreements can escalate into significant conflicts. Empathy, however, provides a mechanism for diffusing these tensions. By actively listening to the other person's perspective and acknowledging their emotions, we create a space for open communication and mutual understanding. This approach allows for a more collaborative problem-solving process, leading to mutually acceptable solutions. However, cultivating empathy is not simply a matter of wishing it into existence. It requires consistent effort, self-reflection, and a willingness to challenge our own biases. One crucial aspect of developing empathy is practicing active listening. This goes beyond simply hearing the words someone is saying. It involves paying close attention to their nonverbal cues, their tone of voice, and the overall context of the conversation. It requires setting aside our own preconceived notions and judgments, allowing the other person to fully express themselves without interruption or judgment. This creates a safe space for vulnerability and honest communication, fostering mutual understanding and building trust. Moreover, perspective taking is essential for effective empathy. This involves actively trying to understand the world from the other person's point of view, stepping into their shoes and imagining their experiences, motivations, and emotions. This is not about agreeing with their perspective, but rather about attempting to comprehend their reasoning and the circumstances that have shaped their worldview. This process often requires challenging our own biases and preconceived notions, acknowledging that our perspectives are often limited and shaped by our own unique experiences. The role of emotional regulation in cultivating empathy cannot be overstated. When we are overwhelmed by our own emotions, it becomes significantly more difficult to empathize with others. Our emotional state directly impacts our ability to understand and respond to the emotional needs of others. Therefore, managing our own emotions is a prerequisite for developing and expressing empathy. This involves learning to identify and regulate our emotional responses, preventing them from interfering with our ability to connect with others on an emotional level. Techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing exercises, and self-compassion practices can be highly effective tools for improving emotional regulation, laying the groundwork for a more empathetic approach to conflict resolution and social harmony. Furthermore, developing empathy involves a commitment to continuous learning and self-improvement. It's a process of ongoing reflection on our interactions with others, analyzing our responses and identifying areas where we can improve our ability to understand and connect with others on an emotional level. Journaling can be a valuable tool in this process, providing a space for self-reflection and analysis of our emotional responses. Reading literature, watching films, and engaging in discussions with individuals from diverse backgrounds can also broaden our understanding of human experience, fostering greater empathy and compassion. Finally, fostering empathy is not solely an individual responsibility. It's a collective endeavor that necessitates societal support. Educational institutions, workplaces, and community organizations can play a pivotal role in cultivating empathy by implementing programs that promote emotional literacy, perspective taking, and intercultural understanding. Creating inclusive environments where individuals feel safe expressing their emotions and where differences are celebrated is essential for building a more compassionate, harmonious society. This includes establishing mechanisms for addressing conflicts fairly and justly, emphasizing the importance of empathy in achieving amicable resolutions. By emphasizing the importance of empathy throughout societal structures, we can collectively build a world where understanding and compassion guide our interactions, paving the way for more constructive conflict resolution and lasting social harmony. The journey towards a more empathetic society is an ongoing process, but the potential rewards stronger relationships, more peaceful communities, and a more just world make it a pursuit worthy of our collective